Welcome, everyone. For those of you first time joining us, my name is Eric Jorgensen. I'm the founder of Special Needs Navigator. I started the company to help families and individuals navigate the maze of benefits, resources, and services. The reason I do this video series is because I want to introduce people to services and resources that they may not be aware of and do a deeper dive into benefits that they may not have had time to look into themselves. Today, my hope is to introduce you and get you to understand what a professional organizer does. Our guest is Vernestine Laughinghouse. She's a certified professional organizer, and I'm hearing in the back of my mind, what does a professional organizer have to do with special needs? And I want to tell you a big part of, as a parent, a big part of what I've experienced is being overwhelmed and feeling overwhelmed quite often and not knowing where to start or what to do. Well, Vernestine and other professional organizers can really help you with that because they do more than just cleaning. They're not a glorified housekeeper. They come in and they're gonna, as Vernestine's gonna explain to you, they're gonna help you establish systems. Vernestine's gonna talk about when you should hire somebody and what you can do yourself. What are some tips to make your life okay for you? And then at the end, we're going to talk about where you can learn more if you, like myself, are curious about professional organizers and you want to understand more about them. Maybe perhaps you're interested in becoming one yourself. Maybe you've got a very sense of almost OCD. Bernstein can tell me better what a better way to think about it. But if you're a really organized person and you're working from home, this may be something, if you're not living in Maryland, if you're out somewhere else, or this may be something you can get involved with one of the organizations Bernstein's going to tell us about, and perhaps be a way for you or your child to work from home and be self-employed. So with that introduction, I hope you are as excited as I am about this. And I'd like to have Bernstein tell us a little bit more about herself, what brought her into becoming a professional organizer, what she loves, and anything else you're willing to share with us, Bernstein.
Okay. So as Eric said, I'm Vernestine Laughinghouse, and the name of my company is Absoulute Organizing Solutions. And I've been organizing for 20 years. This year makes 20 years. And it still feels like 1 year, 2 years, maybe 3 at the most. But I became a professional organizer because it is a skill that's natural for me and I enjoy it. So when I was looking to change from the field that I was in the IT field for many years, but when I was interested in changing, I was looking for something that related to organizing and planning and found professional organizing. So for me, it was about doing something that was natural and something that I enjoy.
And what exactly does a professional organizer do? I mean, I know before you and I sat down and talked for the very first time, I was way off base with what an organizer did, and I'm sure other viewers are probably thinking similar thoughts.
Well, we do different things. It depends on the organizer, but we help individuals create systems and processes. We help them organize their closets. We help them declutter. We help them move. Some of us are move managers. I am a move manager. And we do many things. We do many things. So it depends on the organizer and their skill set.
So when you're looking for an organizer, you want to be very clear what you're looking for, it sounds like, right?
If you can. You don't, sometimes our clients don't really know what they're looking for. So if you do know, when I say that, because of everything that might be going on with them, they might not really know. But by telling the professional organizer, they can better help you find the resources that you need or just assist you themselves.
And I think that's a good segue into, how do you know if you need an organizer? How do you know when you should be reaching out to one, or when you think could benefit from one? You know?
Yes. So one way is when you're stuck, you're trying to complete a project, and that could be a home office. It could be a garage. It could be an attic, closets, bedrooms, any area. You're stuck and you can't do it. You're feeling overwhelmed. Even you might even know what to do, but you still can't quite get it done. And that's the time to hire a professional organizer, because regardless of whether you know it or not, a professional organizer will make sure it gets done because they're going to be there to assist you with it.
And that resonates with me, Vernestine, because I know
Mhm,
as a parent, there have been many times where I knew it had to be done. I just didn't know
mhm,
where to even begin, though. You know, you just look at
mhm.
this room, like when my wife died, I had this house full of stuff,
Yes.
and I didn't even know where to start. And I wish I'd known you back then, because honestly, it took me probably a year and a half to really just dig through that. And
Mhm.
I mean, it sounds like with your help, you can't help me process my grief any faster, but you can certainly make me feel less overwhelmed, because I can turn it over to you and say, this is what I want done. I just can't deal, right? I mean, am I hearing you
Right.
correctly?
Right, that, and also helping you so that you can continue the process. So it's not just we come in and we do it for you. We're working with you to get it done. Because when we
Awesome.
leave, we want you to be able to continue the process. So if we're creating processes and systems, you want to be able to follow them.
So it sounds like you're going to give your clients some input into the process too, to make sure, because otherwise it's really your idea. But if you work with the client, it sounds like so I guess the other thing would be, you're not coming in saying, oh, you have to get rid of all of this stuff. You're coming in and being more collaborative, right?
Right, it's more collaborative, and so organizing is not about getting rid of all of your stuff. And I like to say it's about keeping the items or keeping the things that you will use and that you like and love and that makes sense to keep. Now, that making sense might be different for me than you.
Okay. And then it may also be from conversations you and I have had in the past, it may also be helping you get new shelving, or not, or saying maybe if you got new shelving, we could put more stuff, we could fit more materials in the same area, right?
Yes, yes. So well, when you say more, that always makes me nervous. Makes me nervous if you say more. More what? More, I mean, is the more so that you can add to what you already have, or because you know you need to expand anyway? So it depends on what that more is
So
and why you
let
need
me give
more.
you a more concrete example. As
Okay.
families with children with disabilities,
Hmm.
frequently our children will have an IEP or a 504, and that generates
Hmm.
a lot of paperwork.
Right.
And every
Hmm.
year, you're going to have more meetings, so you're going
Yes.
to get more paper. Well,
Yes.
for me, I had literally, literally boxes in the basement. I mean, these big like Xerox. I don't know if people remember what Xerox is, but those copier paper boxes
Yes.
full, until eventually I got around to scanning everything. But it was chaos. And I
Yes.
mean, when I was applying for my son's SSI, trying to get everything in a nice, nice order for sequential
Hmm.
dates, it was
Yes.
a nightmare. So
Yes.
that's what I mean when
Yes.
I say more.
Okay. Yes. So I totally understand that. And what I do recommend is what you just said, to scan it, because I have worked with a client who has a son with special needs, so I understand all what you're saying. And we did scan all of them. But before we scanned them, when we were just keeping it in paper format, we had a folder for each type and each year. So we had the year and then the different types of documents that went in that process. And we actually use pockets versus hanging folders, but it depends on the individual and what they're comfortable
But well, it also depends.
with. Mhm.
For me, it's I don't know anything else, right? I go with what I
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you come in and you say, well, have you
Yes.
tried this?
Yes.
I'll be like, whoa, mind
Right.
blown, right?
Right. So we
Um,
give ideas. Yeah, we give ideas. I like to say I give suggestions. And the reason I say suggestion is because it doesn't have to be my way. It's a suggestion. And if you think it's a way that something that you can use, then okay. And if not, then I need to come up with another process or another tool.
Okay. And with that in mind, maybe
Mhm.
somebody's not ready to hire you yet, or maybe it's just not in their budget. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, or even just because of Corona, right? I mean, right now there's not a lot of people going into houses, although I think you can work remotely,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um,
So you could hire a professional. You could hire me virtually. You could also just get suggestions. We can discuss it, and without me coming in, I can give suggestions based on what you've told me.
and
But
is there?
virtually, we could do. Mhm. Go ahead.
Go ahead, finish your thought virtually.
Well, I was thinking virtually we could use Zoom or some of the other tools that are available that we're hearing so much about now. We could use those, and then I can actually see your space and help you virtually in that way.
Awesome. And then um, for people that are looking for more of a do-it-yourself, just get started, is there one or two things, maybe three things that you think everybody can do and it wouldn't be super stressful? You know, sometimes you just need to get some momentum, right? I mean,
Right. Well, well, I would say if they first, the first step is always the sorting and purging. So, and that's probably the most overwhelming for most people. But try doing it instead of thinking I'm going to do it all in one day. Try 15 minutes. Try 30 minutes. If you try 15 and you still feel like you can do a little more, try 30 minutes, and then see how you feel. But once you're done, once you've been 15 minutes or 30 minutes and you're feeling a little tired or overwhelmed, then stop for that day. So don't pull everything out that you have. Pull out what you think you can complete in 15 to 30 minutes.
I like that, Bernstein, because
Mhm,
I'm thinking back to when I was emptying my house out, and I did try to overdo it, and I was so miserable.
mhm,
I mean, it just made me
mhm.
not want to do any more the next day. But if I'd done it in 15-minute time blocks, I don't think it would have. I mean, I don't think it would have felt so bad.
Right. And yes, it will take you longer, but you will not feel as overwhelmed.
And do you just have people like set a timer on their phone, or maybe put on 15 minutes worth of music they really like, or
You can set a timer or on your phone, or if you have a clock. What Who has clocks now? But if you have a clock, where you can set a timer, try that. But try setting a timer and and stop at 15 minutes. Then say, "Oh, I feel like going more," so set it again for 15 more minutes.
okay. And that's an important note, right? You want to set it again for 15 more minutes. You don't want to just leave the timer off and go because you might get anxiety or stress yourself
Right.
out.
Yeah, and then you look up and it's been an hour, and then you think, "Oh, I did too much time." So what I'm really saying is do what's comfortable for you and what's not overwhelming. So 15-minute increments are usually manageable enough.
Okay. And how does somebody know where to start? I mean, if all their rooms are full of stuff, or maybe it's their kids went off to college and now they want to
Mhm.
make their kids' room into an office, how do they know how do they know where to start?
So like with any project you start, you think about, you make a plan. So you start with a plan. But I like to start as we walk into the room. So the first thing, like if you walk into the room and you're walking on paper, start there. You walk in the room and you're tripping over clothes or toys or whatever, start there. So start right where it is, and when you're starting, you're separating. So that mean we I say sorting and purging, but it's really separating and putting like categories together. So all the Legos together, if they're kids, if they're college books, or if they're clothes, all types of clothes together. And that's how you start, and that's how you continue the process. But start right when you walk in the room, what you see first.
And do you worry right away about what you're going to get rid of and what you're going to keep, or do you just want to say, okay, let's just get all like things together?
Well, as you're going through getting light things together, you're decluttering at the same time. So you're purging at the same time. If you look at a article of clothing, if you look at an article of clothing and you know you can't wear it, or your child can't wear it anymore, then put it in a pile for donate. So you're going to have a donate or recycle. There are going to be some things that's just not, that's trash, and then keep. So that's, even though you're putting items in light categories, you're separating them for donation or recycle as you go along.
Okay. And then, I mean, that I can see how that would feel so much less overwhelming. And
Hmm.
again, I want to put it in the perspective of a family who has a child or children with disabilities.
Okay.
Very often, they may try to do this. They may not even get 15 minutes before their child's mom, 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 or dad, dad,
Hmm.
dad, right? But that's
Right.
okay, right? I mean, it's okay to get, just give yourself grace to get what you can get done, or maybe wait till your child's asleep, or depending
Right.
on.
Right.
Um,
And that's totally fine. So don't beat yourself up. Don't think that if you don't do 15 minutes, then, oh, that's not successful, because you celebrate what you accomplish.
I like that. As a
Celebrate what
special
you
needs parent,
accomplish.
yeah,
Hmm.
and that's big. I mean, in the special needs community, I don't want to speak for everybody. I know for me, it's
Hmm.
really really important to celebrate every win because
Yes.
they don't come that often sometimes.
Hmm. 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 Right. And sometimes the process goes faster than others. So that's why you have to celebrate what you accomplished. If you say, I only did 5 minutes today, okay, you did 5 minutes. You did something. So,
Awesome.
mhm.
So we're wrapping up because this was meant to be a very I want people to be able to watch this in one sitting
Okay,
and get some takeaways. Is
okay.
I want to recap what we've covered so far, Bernstein. So
Hmm.
the role of a professional organizer is not to tell somebody what to do or what not to do. It's to work with their clients and help them understand where everything has a place. Um, and sometimes that place means it's not in your house anymore, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Right.
then every organizer will have things that they're, well, maybe not every, but most organizers will have things that they're very good at. You mentioned you're a mover. You help people that are moving, right?
Right. So we manage the process. We're not movers. So
Okay.
we're not movers there. No, we're not. We do pack and unpack, but we manage the process. So making sure you have movers, making sure you downsize before you move, because most of the time when people are moving, they're moving to a smaller space. So downsize, just making sure that entire process is less stressful for you.
And do you typically recommend people use movers instead of doing it themselves? Because I feel like when I've tried moving, I
Mhm.
end up wishing I had hired movers.
I do. I recommend using movers, because again, part of hiring us is to try to create less stress. So yes, I recommend using movers instead of renting a U-Haul, or whatever you rent. Renting a truck. I'll just call it a truck. Instead of renting a truck and you and your family doing it, it feels really good to watch them put it on the truck and take it off the truck. So it feels good to see them load and unload.
And
And
if some
organizers, we do hands-on work. So
Okay,
when so we actually help you go through those items. So we don't stand and watch you and say, oh, I'm just watching. No, we actually do hands-on. And when I say this, I'm telling you what we do as a company. We actually do hands-on organizing. So that means that we actually pick up that piece of paper, pick up those clothes and say, can you wear it? Have you worn it? When is the last time you wore it? Oh, I see a rip in it. You sure? So we actually go through that process with you.
that's awesome. And then
Mhm.
if people are looking for movers but they don't know anybody, is that something you can help them with? Can you help refer them? I believe you have a pretty big network, right?
Right. So yes, we can. We'll help refer them. Part of part of uh, part of being organized is also being a resource. So we like to be a resource for movers, for handyman, for painters, um, closet companies. So many areas, electricians. So it just depends on what the client needs, and we want to be a resource also.
That's awesome, and I want to highlight that because I think that's important. When I'm talking to families, when I'm
Mhm.
the purpose of special needs navigator is making sure they know about benefits, resources, and services. Well,
Right.
resources are hard to find. I mean, they're easy to find
Mhm.
on Google, but they're hard
Yes.
to find determine if they're reputable. So when you
Yes.
can get
Yes.
a good referral from somebody that you trust and that you're working with, to me that means everything in the world. I'd much rather take that than go on Google and roll the dice, you know?
Right. Yes. Yes. Mhm.
Is there anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you? Anything else you want to make sure the audience knows about?
Well, something that I want them to know is organizers are there to help you. We are just there to help. So we're not there to judge. So we're non-judgmental and respectful. Even if it's hard to hear, we're still not judging. So I'm just here to help you, just here to help you get through the process that you told me you want to get through. It's not easy work. So I'm not saying it's easy, but just know it doesn't matter how your space look or how much it is, because we are here to help you in a non-judgmental way.
And I'm glad you said that, Vernestine, because I think that could be a barrier for some people before they reach out for help,
Hmm.
is they may want their house to
Yes.
look a certain way or,
Hmm.
something, and then they end up not getting the help because they're too overwhelmed. I mean, if they weren't overwhelmed, they
Yeah.
may not need your help. So I'm really glad that you
Right.
highlighted the non-judgmental.
Hmm.
And so I have on here your contact information, and this is
Okay.
which way would you what's the best way for people to reach you? Is phone or email
I
the
like
best way?
I like email best,
Okay.
but it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you.
And I want to clarify, Bernstein is based in Maryland. So if you're looking for, did I say you are in Maryland, right? You're not in DC.
I am. I'm based in DC, but I
Oh,
serve the Maryland. I serve the. I am based in DC, but I serve the entire area.
right.
I
And then
serve the
because
Maryland, Virginia, DC area.
right, and then virtually, if you happen to live somewhere like North Carolina, California, or and you would like to consult with Bernstein, she certainly can. She's just not going to be doing
Yes,
even after COVID. She won't be doing the face to face.
right. But just you'll feel face to face because we'll be on Zoom. So
Right, right. And we've gotten really good at
yes.
Zoom. I mean, Zoom has gotten to be quite the, and I mean, you can do it on phones now, you can do it on tablets. So,
Yes,
to your point, Bernstein, they could literally walk you around the house and not, I mean, not on a
yes,
laptop, but they could tablet or phone walk you around the house.
yes. And get organized in the same way. I'm not physically holding your hand, but I'm holding your hands virtually.
Fantastic. Bernstein, this is awesome. I'm going to make sure I have your
Mhm.
contact information in the description. This has
Okay.
been recorded in August. It'll probably go live in September, but
Okay.
I'm sure I'll have you back so we can do deeper dives. And
Okay.
audience, as always, if you have questions, if you want to know more from a guest that I've brought on, please email me or the guest. I have the email information, contact information, because our guests would love to hear from you. And I am not the guy to go to if you have a question about this. I'm bringing Bernstein on because she's an expert. She's been doing it for 20 years. I do everything I can to keep my sock drawer organized. Thank you, Bernstein.
Thank you.